So we got some quick stats, and that is so far we're at 65 sessions. We are now at the 100th guest speaker, and this guest speaker that we have today that I'll be introducing shortly, he is the 100th. We have so far 288 members landing jobs, and we have 2,600 plus members on LinkedIn and counting. Some more stats. The LinkedIn group members, that's 2,658. The LinkedIn company followers, that's 1,081. YouTube subscribers, that's 162. Instagram, 85. X followers, that's 24. Facebook, 37. And TikTok's still at 1. I got to figure out what TikTok is. I don't know what TikTok is with regard to AHF because I don't have TikTok. I know that's kind of weird, me being young, but yeah, I've never gotten around to TikTok. And so we'll have to figure out how to get some exposure with that one. With that said, I'm going to introduce Mr. Nick, excuse me. And I spoke with him yesterday. He's a very interesting man. And like our organizer, Danny, he too has a big heart. And he has an incredible mind. And he works with an interesting company that is looking to do the very thing that we're trying to do, but they're on a much larger scale and with a particular bent that I've seen and a lot of other people have seen, and many people are intuiting. That's sort of a new way of approaching work culture and bringing people on board. So with that said, Nick, I'm going to give the floor to you and introduce yourself and have at it. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Really happy to be here, everybody. Obviously, as you can see with that first picture, when I had a little bit more of my winter beard, so I had to trim that down when the wife was asking me to. So happy wife, happy life. Outside of that, yeah, as Adam was alluding to, we at Robert Half, I'll jump a little bit more into my background. We have a really large emphasis on connecting good people with good people. And that's kind of my personal tag sometimes is we want to make sure that our clients have the best people in front of them, and not just the people with the best skills, but someone who's actually going to deliver for the long term. So with that, I'd love to kind of start about where I started in the journey to get here. So I actually started in education, and being from New York, which I think I actually saw Kimberly from New York, fellow New Yorker. I came down for education with my then girlfriend, now wife, and I wasn't sure what to expect down here in Charlotte, jumping into something new. After education, I got into sales, and I got into staffing because I just like helping people. That's something that I'm really passionate about is helping people navigate, into something maybe new or something they're also passionate about. But where I got into Robert Half, I guess I would say I was unemployed as well for probably going on a year. I jumped into a new business venture to where I was pretty much part-time running a fitness facility. We had our daughter, and I spent months and months of either coming in second place, not hearing back from employers, really feeling down about, what am I doing wrong here? Am I not getting in front of the right people? Am I applying to the wrong jobs? What is happening? And I kind of came to the conclusion that I just need to keep going. I need to keep applying. I need to figure it out. And eventually I did land with Robert Half, and it took some time, more time than I would have liked, of course. And unfortunately, I think last year was very volatile. And if we, for those that lost their positions and their positions were eliminated last year, it was a hard time for a lot of you. And I'm very aware of that. And I know right now you might still be going through that. And that's why I'm here today, I think, is to kind of speak a little bit more about maybe how to realign what you're thinking and maybe the process and what you're doing there. So at Robert Half, I specialize on the IT side. So I handle all IT contract to hire, solutions, and I work with clients that are small to medium-sized businesses, some larger size, but mostly in the Charlotte metro area. And, if you know Robert Half, we started out in the 1940s as mostly an account temps firm. We grew from 1940s all the way until now to where we now have a consulting firm. We have a large IT presence, finance, operations, you name it. So with that being said, wherever you are in the world, we probably have an office somewhere that might be able to help you. And that's what I like to kind of to start off with here is, we like to connect with good people. So please connect with me. I dropped my LinkedIn there a little while ago, and I'm happy to drop it in again. Connect with me, look through my connections, utilize me as a resource for you guys as well. And I would love to just kind of be a part of your journey, whether you're just getting started or you've been a part of it for a while. So with that, I understand a lot of us right now, I think potentially based on job position too, we don't really see an end in sight, right? So I think with that, how can we change that? So one thing I'm bringing to the table here is, what's one thing that many job seekers might not be aware of but would find incredibly helpful, right? So I think is that, as Adam was saying, this is a lot more of a human process than it ever has been. The reason it's a lot more of a human/humane process is because AI is jumping in here. We don't know who's real, who's not, and we have to do a lot of the background check on our side too to make sure, hey, who's real and who's not. But also, with that being said, right, like, have that LinkedIn presence, be able to show that, before the hiring manager even sees your resume, sometimes decisions are made before that even starts to take place. So a lot of hiring managers are looking at LinkedIn's, they're looking you up on Google, as crazy as that sounds, but they shouldn't be doing, right? That's, something that I don't personally do because that's not ethical on our end. But with that, have that strong presence, right? So with those things, it starts with the digital presence, not just your resume. They want clarity. They want to see the person that they're potentially bringing onto their team. So they're looking for things like, are you communicating clearly who you are? Is who they see on LinkedIn the same person that they're potentially going to see in the resume, and the same person they're going to have in the interview, and then the same person they're going to have working in the office or remotely with them? So that's a big part of the experience now with a lot of hiring managers, not just in tech. And when I'm saying these things, I want to also say, like, this isn't just for the technical side, it's for everything. We have a really strong presence in multiple facets in LOBs. So, are your skills and experience consistent across the board, right? How are you showing the person that you are? Does your profile tell a story? Does it look generic? Now, some people don't necessarily have a strong LinkedIn. Some hiring managers don't really care, but now I think they want to see the presence, right? They want to see who you are as a person outside of that skill set. So the candidates who are standing out today, especially in that competitive market, are ones that are showing intentionality, ones that are showing, that they've been doing this for a little bit. And, even if you've been in the job market and you're 22 to 72, right? It doesn't really matter. They want to see you as the person. So your online presence, the insider tip here is, your online presence is part of your application, whether you think it is or not. And, I want you guys to make it work for you, not against you, as cliche as that sounds. But, we're still humans at the end of the day. And I saw something in the group for Warren Buffett's 7 Rules for CEOs, and I apologize that I'm reading it right now, but I think it's so important that people are hiring for character first. Right? They want to see that you're a team member. They want to see that you're going to deliver a long impact, right? What are the deliverables? That's one of my favorite words now. So who are you? You want to have the right person in the seat. Your reputation, right? Going back to referrals potential. If you have referrals or recommendations or people that you've worked with that tie directly into the work you've done, that is such a big part of the job industry right now, that if you can share those 2 or 3 people with someone like myself or with the hiring manager, that goes a very long way. So your presence, whether you've been in the industry a long time or not, is extremely crucial for that. So kind of moving on to the main talking points here. Some of the things I'm going to talk about is how hiring works behind the scenes, what candidates are doing to stand out today, and the relationship-based job search. So kind of going through here, and I'm happy to answer all the questions at the end of this, and I'll try not to be long-winded. Being a teacher in the past, being from New York, I can talk, I use my hands, so apologies to begin with here. The first thing is what's kind of happening behind the scenes, right? Is that job descriptions evolve, things change. You might apply for a job and that job might change 2 to 3 times, maybe 4 times over the course of 2 to 3 months. Reason being is they might have a candidate roll in that triggers a role to be rewritten. Reason being communication, attitude, adaptability, skill set match, speed of response, professionalism. These are all different things that can change what someone's looking for and scanning for. So it's not just a technical match. It's, hey, we actually just interviewed somebody where their communication was really strong. Their skill set experience was a little bit light, but this is where we might be able to go from, right? And that's specifically from the side of where I'm looking from is in the staffing arena. So a strong candidate isn't just a skill set. Don't just put yourself out there as someone that can do things, right? You want to also be a solution to a potential business problem. And I think that's something that not enough people think about when they're going through their resume, when they're applying, when they're talking through these interviews, right? How are you going to come in here, communicate clearly, and follow up professionally to rise to the top, right? So that's why I like to say it's way more human than people think. There's a lot of steps here where the human gets involved outside of just applying and looking at the skill set. The second thing is, like I was saying before, what makes someone stand out in today's market, right? I'm sure a lot of people have seen this. I'm sure you can all agree to this. You can drop a thumbs up. A lot of people's resumes look the same today, right? I think we're all kind of using some of the same tools. I think we all like to put things on there that might make us stand out. What's going to really help you stand out is keeping the highlighting of the outcomes of what you've actually done in your past work experience, right? So what people really want to see as the employers for job seekers is, what have you done to deliver impact with real examples? How have you made an impact on your team? What have you done to help the business move? Or what have you done during, I know we have some tax people here, what have you done during tax season to help kind of mitigate those headaches, right? So it's a lot about treating every interaction as a moment to build that trust. And that also ties back into the recommendations, referrals, however you want to name it, right? So the candidates who are consistently standing out are people who are saying exactly what they want every single time. When I say every single time, I mean in your resume, in your job application, in your LinkedIn posts, in your emails back, in your thank you emails, and your follow-up emails, right? Describing those impacts with real life examples. So hiring managers now more than ever are remembering people who make the decision easy for them, right? People who are showing clarity, confidence, and follow through. I've seen a lot of candidates in the past lose out on positions because they didn't follow up with us. They didn't follow up with the hiring manager, right? They're not making it easy to communicate. And sometimes that's cut and clear, right? For some hiring managers is, hey, this person's a little hard to communicate with. They've been hard to schedule time with. I don't know if they're going to be right for our team. And we see that quite a few times. Not saying that knocks you out of the running, but it's something that helps you stand out, right? So you don't need to be perfect. So the overarching theme here is what's making you stand out is you don't need to have the perfect background to stand out. You just need to show your value in a very easy way that's easy to understand. And there's many ways to do that. Like I was saying before, resume, LinkedIn, recommendations, emails back to the hiring manager. So it all depends on how you articulate those things, right? So that's the top two. The first two, as I was saying, how it's kind of working behind the scenes, what's making candidates stand out in today's market. And the third, which I can kind of get into the fourth, the third one is the relationship-based job search. As we know, why we're a part of this, right? A lot of it's based on who you know, not what you know. And we're seeing that so often right now. It's knowing people in the industry, knowing people in different markets across the country, being a part of organizations like this. Sometimes people land a job, sometimes people land a project because of who they know, or because they've interacted with someone like myself. Now, I might not be the person for you specifically because I'm in the IT space, but share your information with me and I'm happy to shoot it out to every single person that I know and all the people that I work with across the board at Robert Half, right? I want to make sure, based on our relationship, because I trust pretty much anyone I interact with based on our conversation, is that, hey, I'm going to vouch for you. I want to make sure that you're getting in front of the right people here. So relationships, referrals are huge, recruiting partnerships like myself, staying top of mind, maybe not pinging the hiring manager every single day, which sometimes people chuckle like, yep, I've probably done that before, which is, it's fine. I've done that too. I'd still do that today in my job, but staying top of mind, having a good cadence, and that's different for every single industry, right? I think it really depends on the job position and where you're at in that, I guess, in that sequence of the interview process. And then the constant outreach, right? That ties into staying top of mind, keeping it consistent, keeping the message consistent, not seeming overly frustrated, just saying, hey, I appreciate this, kind of keeping that flow moving. So when you're doing that, a lot of job seekers Sometimes they never even talk to people online, right? Sometimes they just kind of see the resume and then they talk to the people that are actually in front of them, or they have talent acquisition or human resources. Most of the times they're not connecting with people on LinkedIn, right? So the people that apply online mostly will not actually speak to the person prior to the interview process or even after the interview process. And I think that's something that's kind of crucial right now. So something I also want to add is the hidden job market. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds like something out of Indiana Jones. The hidden job market is real, right? It's not something that's out there and it's like the hidden Starbucks menu, right? So it's like, you can, hey, can I get this? Well, ask. You don't know until you ask, right? I say the same thing with a lot of people I speak with is you don't know what's out there until you actually ask and see if it's, something could be potentially happening now or in the future. That's why that constant staying top of mind is so integral in the actual process right now, is because they might not have a position now. They might not have a position in 3 months, but you're looking in 5 to 6 months, maybe something pops up, maybe headcount opened. Maybe they're like, hey, you know what? I might actually be able to squeeze you in. So stay top of mind because the hidden job market is there. Sometimes they're looking for a backfill. Sometimes there's a project that they don't know they actually needed until someone like you reaches out, or someone like myself reaches out and say, hey, I have someone like Jimmy who's perfect for this, right? That they work. Right? And they're like, you know what? Yeah, I could actually use someone like Jimmy for this. That happens a lot. That happens time to time in our industry, especially with projects and contract to hire. So one thing I want to end on for that point is when you're building a relationship or even a peer, in your field, don't make it about your resume. Make it about who you are and, how you're going to make an impact. Right? I think that's how we can speak to your potential a lot more, is what you're going to do impactfully as a person in any kind of business model. So I do want to add one final point here before we jump into anything else, before kind of closing transition. So some mistakes that I see a lot of people making are generic resumes. And what I mean by that is just like task-based bullets instead of achievements based on like what you've actually done. So I think that ties into like the whole thing of don't just list out like I was a part of this, I did this, I did this, I did this. Show actual deliverables, right? Show like, hey, I interacted with different stakeholders to help deliver this project. I interacted with 6 to 10 different people in the accounting team or the IT delivery team, whatever space you're in. Managers want to see that. Managers want to see that you're capable of working in that, any type of environment, whether it's fast paced, slow paced, you're an individual contributor, you're a manager, whatever that looks like. So outside of that, I think letting your online presence go stale is something a lot of people do as well. When I connect with everyone here, you'll see I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. Sometimes I think too active, but then I look back and say, you know what? I think it's okay because I'd rather be seen than not. I think for myself, I want to be seen as the person that, Nick posted again today, right? Let's see what he has to do. Or, oh, Nick commented again on my post. Or, hey, he's active again, right? I want to make sure that people are seeing me for who I am, right? Seeing me as the person that's going to potentially help them, whether they're a client, whether they're somebody that's, a candidate. I want to be seen, right? I know that sounds so cliche again, but like it helps to be seen in a positive light. And that's what goes back to the human aspect, being humane with this whole process and not just being a resume and a skill set, right? So small improvements here are going to make a big difference over time. It might not be overnight. It might take a couple weeks, a couple months, whatever that looks like, but small improvements will definitely help. So just kind of a closing transition here that I want to get to, because I think I hit a lot and I said a lot. I talk fast, so I apologize. And I'm happy to answer all those questions. Hiring is human. Clarity matters. Relationships matter. And the more intentional you are, the more doors are going to open. It's a matter of time, right? It's a matter of when. It's not a matter of how, but it's a matter of when. So you keep doing that, it's going to happen. So I'm happy to dive into all the questions right now. I think I'm ready for whatever you guys have. Adam, however you want to run this, I'm happy to hit on anything. I talked a lot about the human side, but I can discuss anything available.
Excellent presentation, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, you tapped into and on a lot, and there's so much to chew on there. So I'm going to let everybody start feasting and try and get some nutritional value out of everything you said. We're going to open it up now. Jimmy, you can go ahead and stop recording so we can start doing questions. And